Just 1 second while I bring up the agenda. Good evening, everyone. Buenas tardes todos. I would like to go ahead and call our meeting to order. We did get notified that Ms. Montenegro would be joining us shortly, just running a few minutes late. Me gustaría llamar la junta a orden a las 6:05. Ms. Montenegro nos notificó que viene en camino y ahorita se va a reunir con nosotros. So at this time, I'd like to call our meeting to order and move on to establish quorum through roll call. Establecer el quórum con llamado de los presentes.
Okay. So roll call, Michelle Carrillo.
Presente.
Abraham Celio.
Presente.
Yesenia Cervantes Vázquez.
Presente.
Dulce Garduño.
Here.
Vanessa Herrera presente. Megan Sobel.
Presente.
Ilse Acevedo.
Presente.
Javier Velázquez.
Presente.
Erika Montenegro. Ella está ausente ahorita.
Ante 8, ¿correcto?
Sí, son 8.
Ok, establecemos quórum con 8 miembros presentes. We establish quórum with 8 members present. I'd like to continue with item number 3. Me gustaría continuar el punto número 3, de revisar la agenda. So me gustaría hacer una moción para aprobar la agenda en como está. I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda the way it stands. Do we have a second? Can we get a confirmation on the second?
I'll second it, Mr. Carrillo.
Thank you. Discussion for our agenda. ¿Alguna discusión acerca de la agenda? Ok, continuamos con el voto.
Ilse Acevedo.
Sí.
Michelle Carrillo.
Sí.
Abraham Celio.
Sí.
Yesenia Cervantes.
Sí.
Dulce Garduño.
Sí.
Vanessa Herrera, sí. Megan Sobel.
Sí.
Javier Velázquez.
Sí.
La moción pasa con 8 votos al favor, 0 no, 0 obstantes. Continuamos con el voto de aprobación de los minutos de 27 de julio del 2022. I'd like to continue with voting and approval of the minutes for July 27, 2022. Me gustaría hacer la moción para aprobar los minutos en cómo están. ¿Alguien la segunda?
Yo la segunda.
Muchas gracias, Ms. Garduño. Discusión, any discussion on the minutes that were shared by email? Fueron compartidos el 8 de agosto, el lunes. Muchas gracias, Ms. Herrera, por tener esos listos para todos nosotros. Si no hay discusión, continuamos con el voto.
Dulce Acevedo,
Sí.
Michelle Carrillo,
Sí.
Abraham Celio,
Sí.
Yesenia Cervantes,
Sí.
Dulce Garduño,
Sí.
Vanessa Herrera, sí. Megan Sobo,
Sí.
Javier Velázquez,
Sí.
La moción pasa con 8 votos al favor, 0 no, 0 obstantes. Muchas gracias. Continuamos al punto número 4, reporte de la directora. Resumen del principio del año.
Thanks. I'm going to share my screen. Give me one moment. Okay, just give me a second to make it bigger. All right, so deep clean is finishing up this week, so everything is clean and sanitized for staff and student return. Does someone mind communicating in Spanish? And I'll just have it ready in Spanish so I can read it next time.
La limpieza profunda en la escuela ha terminado. Eso ya está hecho.
Engineer Trevino is back, and we're very appreciative for Engineer Black, who was with us while Trevino was out.
Y el ingeniero Treviño ya regresó. El señor Black estuvo con nosotros mientras él estuvo fuera y ya está de regreso.
Our enrollment is up by 20 since our last count in April. You can see all the numbers on the screen. And fifth grade should be 30 students.
Ok. El quinto grado, de hecho, son 30 estudiantes y nuestro... I forgot how to say enrollment. Nuestro total de estudiantes ha subido por 20. You said 20, right? So, ha subido por 20 estudiantes, así que vamos mejor.
And then our next steps are that Engineer Trevino is looking into when the air conditioning maintenance is coming out. It's working right now, but the blowers have been kind of off, and so we want to get that fixed.
Okay. Están ahorita viendo cómo arreglan los aire acondicionado. Necesita un poco de mantenimiento y están trabajando en eso.
And myself and Gifted Coordinator Carrillo will be beginning marketing plans for fall testing and school selection.
La señora Carrillo y la señora Sobo ya están planeando todo lo que viene en el otoño para hacer los exámenes y la selección de la escuela, y incluyendo hacer pues propaganda para la escuela.
I completed the parent engagement plan I discussed during my interview process. So parent survey went out. There was an in-person and virtual parent meeting sessions that happened this week.
Ya se completó la encuesta que se le mandó a todos los padres. Ayer fue cuando la directora también tuvo esa junta abierta para que los padres pudieran ir a conocerla y hacer cualquier pregunta que tuvieran.
There'll be beginning of year professional development sessions on how to create classroom expectations. So teachers will know how to do that and review the school-wide expectations.
Los maestros van a empezar a tener sus sesiones de mejoramiento profesional, donde van a empezar a poner metas y las expectativas que van a tener en cada grado para que empiecen a hacer eso con sus salones.
So far, communication has been great, but everything can always be better. So we're going to talk about kind and direct conversations beginning of year, utilizing a book called Radical Candor.
Utilizando el libro que se llama Candor Radical, la comunicación es buena, pero siempre puede mejorar aún más, así que van a utilizar ese libro para saber cómo tener conversaciones aún más más lindas.
And then parents were concerned about having so many doors for entry. So we'll be narrowing doors down to 2 doors, and we'll have students waiting inside instead of outside once they arrive at 7:30.
Very good. All right. Muy bien. Me dio gusto escuchar eso. Como había mucho, nos preocupaba a todos los padres de que hubieran muchas puertas abiertas para el plantel, entonces se va a reducir la manera que pueden entrar los estudiantes y todos los demás a solo 2 puertas. Y cuando los niños lleguen a 7:30 van a estar esperando adentro en lugar de afuera para mantenerlos más seguros.
And Gifted Coordinator Carrillo is finishing up planning for the Back to School Bash, which is a week from tomorrow.
Y en una semana el próximo jueves, el 18, está nuestro festejo de regreso a clases y Ms. Carrillo está coordinando todo eso.
For curriculum and assessment, we have 2 things in the works. We have beginning of year professional development on the definition of gifted bilingual education, and then that will really be our focus moving forward throughout the year.
Wish me luck with this one. Okay. Para el desarrollo, uno de los puntos de desarrollo profesional para los educadores va a ser reimaginar la definición de la educación gifted o de los niños dotados, así para poderse enfocar un poco más y traer eso a la vida este año escolar.
And once that is completed, we'll share with parents for their feedback before we implement anything. And then we're also doing some professional development on an online platform that will help us differentiate our instruction to student needs.
Very good. Okay. Antes de que esos cambios sean implementados, todo se verá compartido con los padres para que podamos dar nuestras opiniones y van a también empezar a usar un sistema tecnológico para poder diferenciar las diferentes clases de acuerdo a dónde estén, el nivel que estén cada uno de nuestros estudiantes.
And then our new interventionist, Ms. Felsenstein, will be doing a survey with teachers to see what supports they need to differentiate instruction. And our behavioral health team will be doing something similar for our social and emotional supports with students.
Ms. Felsenstein, quien ya la conocemos desde el año pasado, ahora está sirviendo cargo de intervencionista, entonces va a estar trabajando con todos los educadores para que puedan analizar los datos y saber cómo mejor diferenciar sus lecciones y que eso sea adecuado para cada niño.
All right, almost done. Teaching and learning, again, professional development where staff will learn about some differentiated instruction best practices.
Siguiendo con un punto similar de desarrollo profesional, van a estar viendo un sistema de diferentes niveles donde van a saber cómo apropiadamente hacer esa diferenciación de enseñanza para que sea apropiado.
And we'll also, per parent feedback, be having staff either create a Google Classroom or design some other way to communicate to parents weekly what students are working on and provide the materials parents may need to support their kids at home.
¿Quieren seguir con compartir esta información y de cómo van nuestros hijos y los materiales que se les está implementando en el salón semanalmente, darnos un tipo de reporte? Todavía está por verse si va a ser tal vez Google Classroom o de alguna otra manera que compartan esta información cada semana con nosotros.
And then I'll be collecting the Google Classroom codes just to progress monitor how that's going for people. And AP Augusta and I will be popping in the classrooms on that first week back to celebrate opening successes with teachers. And then we'll be going in cyclically around evaluation times just to kind of take the temperature with how things are going in classrooms.
Mm-hmm. La directora, who else did you say? I'm sorry.
AP Augusta.
Okay. La directora y subdirectora van a estar ambas yendo a todos los salones, a ir a visitar cada salón, por supuesto con más enfoque la primera semana, pero también van a hacer los códigos para Google Classroom y de esta manera poder implementar el punto que habíamos dicho en el punto anterior.
And then for our family, community, university, and corporate partnerships, I did meet with Rush and Ms. Cervantes to discuss possible STEM collaboration in middle school. Teacher isn't quite sure if that could work for this year with the curriculum, but he is going to look into it.
Ok. Y para el alcance comunitario, la directora se reunió con un grupo de Rush que tienen un programa de STEM para los estudiantes para poder hablar de una posible colaboración para el currículum que está aquí en Orozco. Es posible que no se pueda incorporar este año, pero de todos modos se va a ver la posibilidad de hacerlo en un futuro.
And then admin did meet with Rush about some parent health sessions we'll be doing. We'll do an intro session in September and then move forward with multi-session cycles if parents are interested.
También por parte de Rush va a haber un taller, una serie de talleres que son para mejoramiento de la salud. Esto será gratuito para los padres que quieran participar. Las sesiones van a empezar en septiembre. Va a haber una sesión 0 que se llama, que es para invitarlos a conocer sobre los programas y después de eso van a seguir las sesiones semanales para manejo de condiciones crónicas de salud.
Admin met with the Parent Mentors program through Resurrection as well as American Scores, and we will be able to bring 5 to 8 parent mentors back for next year.
Very nice. Okay. La administración se reunió con los padres mentores y con America Scores y una buena noticia es de que a pesar de que el año pasado se cerró con ningún dinero alocado para los padres mentores, van a poder regresar de 5 a 8 padres mentores en este año.
And then I met with Alderman Sigcho Lopez to introduce myself and discuss some of the needs that were surfaced by parents around speeding around the school. And that's something I hope to get on the next LSC agenda.
Great, thank you. También se reunió la directora con el concejal Byron Sigcho López para poder hablar de él, bueno, para presentarse y también para poder hablar con él sobre las preocupaciones que varios padres han mencionado sobre carros pasando demasiado rápido por afuera de la escuela y eso pues es algo que que va a traer más información sobre lo que hablaron la próxima junta.
Questions, preguntas? I have a question then for our next meeting and moving forward. Would it work for, I just realized I did remember to put the Spanish on the bottom. Would it just work for everyone to read through and then we'll take questions at the end? Is anyone opposed to doing it that way?
I think either way works. Yeah. I do have a question on enrollment.
Yeah.
So the 20 students that were newly enrolled, when is that as of? When was that last tally taken?
I
And
did that
how
on
did those new students kind of enroll and how do we get that word out? How did they come to us?
That I'm not sure about. I do know that they're mostly younger students. We're actually like pretty much at capacity for kindergarten at this point. And then, yeah, I collected that data for us on Friday.
And you said it was from April, right? I believe.
And then the last time the data was taken was by Principal Colon in April.
Okay. La pregunta que hizo la señora Herrera fue sobre el número total de estudiantes, así que como han subido el número total de estudiantes que tenemos, que eso es muy bueno, por 20 estudiantes, preguntaba la señora Herrera que si sabemos debido a qué, cómo es que los niños llegaron hacia nosotros, claro, para poder seguirlo haciendo, ¿verdad? No estamos seguros, pero lo que sí es que el kindergarten ya está en capacidad, o sea, ya se llenó el salón de kindergarten, que es muy bueno. Y esos números han subido desde la última vez que la señora Colón lo revisó en abril. Así que, cosa buena.
También tengo una pregunta. Buenas noticias, primero celebrando todo la inscripción, que se siga aumentando y que estamos a capacidad de kindergarten. So super excited to hear that we're at capacity for kindergarten. That's really great news. I had a question with regards to the Google Classroom. Is that something that's going to be implemented across every grade? And that's how parents are going to reliably be able to look at what assignments students are having and what assignments they're missing prior to things being recorded in Aspen, of course. Mi pregunta es, ¿va a ser el Google Classroom algo que se implementa a través de todos los grados? Y si es algo que vamos a poder usar los padres para revisar qué tareas tienen los niños, qué es lo que le falta antes de que se convierta como en un grado permanente en Aspen.
And because, well, to start off, because I haven't been able to discuss that with teachers yet, I don't want to say unilaterally that I'm going to make everyone do it because I haven't gotten their feedback yet. But the idea is that that would probably be the easiest way to partner with parents. And that is an expectation on their reach evaluation. So it's like, it is, documented that they need to be engaging with partners, parents as partners. And so I'm going to introduce that. But if for some reason they're bad with technology, but they're really good with their email, or they have another way of doing it that I haven't thought of, I am open to that communication. But I wanted to have that conversation with the teachers next week before finalizing anything.
Thank you.
And in the chat, I'm seeing numbers for second round of testing. I'm not sure if we do, but I will check on that tomorrow, and I will share this document.
Ms. Sobel, I just want to say what you last said really quickly. So lo que nos dijo la directora a la pregunta de la señora Montenegro es de que no va a requerir que los maestros, por ejemplo, hagan Google Classroom si no es lo que ellos prefieren, pero lo que sí van a explorar van a ser las mejores maneras de que cada salón, cada maestro pueda tener esa comunicación con los padres, porque eso es algo que es muy importante, de que sepamos las tareas, las cosas que los niños tienen por venir para mejor apoyarlos.
Gracias, Ms. Cervantes.
Yes, Mr. Velasquez, thank you for that. Again, I don't even know. It seems like some teachers use it with fidelity, but I don't want to claim that before I've talked to everybody.
No more questions?
Hay una pregunta sobre el quinto grado. For fifth grade class, you have 30. Is Ms. Love working with Ms. Ortega this year?
I don't have the org chart directly in my brain, but I can pull that up if you guys give me a minute.
No tiene esa información frente a ella, pero va a buscarla en este momento para poder contestar eso. Also, while you're looking for that, I'm just wondering up to what grades the parent mentors will be in. Y mi pregunta es también ¿qué grados van a estar los padres mentores?
The program was specified to be lower grades, but we know we've traditionally done it at a Roscoe up through fifth grade. So that will be the focus again for this year. Alrighty, so we have Mr. Fraga has not been assigned to a specific classroom yet. Mr. Ortega will be in second and third grade, and Miss Oliva will be in kinder and first. And then for our SICAs, they will be with, we are bringing Miss Lizette Carvajal back. Miss Castillo got a job closer to home. So she'll be with our pre-K students. And then we'll have Mr. Rhodes, mostly with sixth grade, but also sometimes with pre-K. We'll have Mr. Escarpita with the fifth graders and Miss Clemmer Mosley with third and fourth grade.
No me acuerdo de todo, pero la pregunta era los de quinto grado y va a estar Mr. Escarpita con ellos. Y la maestra Love.
Una pregunta que se ve frecuentemente, frequent question with regards to pre-K is, will there be, because it's typically half-day pre-K in the morning and in the afternoon, is there going to be, a focus of Spanish in the morning and English in the afternoon, as we've seen in years past, or is it going to be bilingual, again, for both Spanish and the afternoon? I was going to say, la pregunta era, en años previos hemos visto que en la mañana o en la tarde se hace una concentración de español para prekinder y en la tarde inglés o viceversa. Y el año pasado y no sé si el año anterior también hubo un énfasis, o más bien hubo bilingüe para los dos.
I believe the focus is more on having certain students in certain areas because we have some twins that don't operate the best together. And so we did separate them. So my belief is that it will be fully bilingual because the only thing I've heard as a focus area is the composition of the students.
And a bit of a follow-up question. Are the second and first grade teachers that were hired Spanish speaking? Yes, right?
Spanish speaking. One is an Orozco graduate, fully
Mhm.
Spanish speaking.
The second grade, right?
The other is also fully Spanish speaking. She's from California, but is very excited to continue to work with her Mexican community.
Wonderful. Sí, señora Rogel, las dos maestras que fueron contratadas para primero y segundo grado hablan español. De hecho, la que fue contratada para segundo grado es graduada de Orozco. Las dos completamente bilingües.
Both have their bilingual licensure as well. So.
Y las dos tienen su licenciatura bilingüe, así que no nada más hablan español, son completamente bilingües.
Certificadas.
Certificadas, gracias.
All right, and then the other thing I wanted to share is the budget. Just wanted to go over a few things there.
Somebody else want to take over the budget translation?
I can try.
So we have these 3 CIP priorities. Strategy 3 is going to stay as it is.
Estas son las 3 prioridades de la estrategia que se va a implementar este año para el CIWP.
Let me try to make this a little bit bigger. But for strategy 1 and 2, we're going to shift them a little bit.
La estrategia 3 se va a mantener igual, pero la estrategia 1 y 2 va a haber un poquito de cambio de énfasis.
Ms. Felsenstein is going to do that needs assessment with teachers to figure out if we're at a place where everyone's so good at doing that differentiated instruction that we're ready for students to do progress monitoring, or if some teachers need support with how to differentiate, how to analyze data, so on and so forth. So we're still focused on doing that differentiated instruction and progress monitoring. We just might shift it from moving to student ownership to making sure that all the teachers have the support they need to do it effectively.
Primero, Ms. Felsenstein va a hacer una evaluación del estatus de la evaluación. What is this for?
Strategy 1, if we engage students in progress monitoring.
Si estamos engaging, si estamos...
Para hacer la diferenciación que van a implementar.
Sí, va a evaluar basado en la evaluación de necesidades y ya están listos para mover a la tercera etapa de engagement. I can't think of that word. I'm stuck on that one. I'm sorry, guys. Pero va a determinar si ya estamos listos para mover a la segunda etapa de esa estrategia.
And then for strategy 2, we were kind of rushing ahead a little bit in regards to what we wanted to do for gifted, being a gifted school, but we hadn't defined it as a community. So we're going to do that and include bilingual in that title, like I mentioned before we start moving on to a strategy.
Yeah. Nos estábamos adelantando para tratar de determinar qué queríamos hacer como una comunidad de niños dotados, pero no habíamos puesto suficiente tiempo para pensar qué es lo que quiere decir ser una escuela de niños dotados, y vamos a incorporar el título bilingüe dentro de eso.
Questions on that? Preguntas? No?
Yeah, I have a question. What does CIWP stand for?
Yes. It's the continuous improvement work plan. On the survey, I had asked if parents knew what it was. So sorry, I was using the lingo and most people hadn't seen it. So just wanted to come back to that's what our focus areas are supposed to be. And so as a new principal, I wanted to make sure that I had enough to really like implement what was on the plan. And I felt like the plan had kind of jumped ahead a little bit from what I have evidence that we are kind of ready for. So just want to step back for a moment, like go slow to go fast.
Plan de trabajo de mejoramiento continuo.
Perfecto. Sí.
Okay.
I looked it up. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was like breaking down the words.
And then, of course, just wanted everyone to see that this was the tally 240, but now we're at 260. And then let me see what the next, I want to go to slide 10. So we did gain 2 positions. So Ms. Carrillo will be moving into that instructional lead coach and continuing on as the gifted coordinator, whereas Ms. Felsenstein is moving out of her teacher role into an interventionist role.
So, sí aumentamos en 2 posiciones. Ms. Carrillo lo promovimos. Muchas gracias, Ms. Carrillo, por tomar esa responsabilidad a la que viene siendo gifted coordinadora de niños dotados, o el del programa de niños dotados. Y Ms. Felsenstein sería nuestra lead. So she's a coach too?
She'll be supporting teachers with how they differentiate their instruction.
Okay, entonces ella va a estar apoyando a los maestros en cómo usan estrategias intervencionistas para los niños.
We did lose a number of special ed positions, but just want everyone to be aware that special ed is actually funded separately from our overall budget. So we have every single diverse learner staff member we need to implement the IEPs of the students that we have coming in the building next year.
Sí perdimos algunas posiciones de la educación especial, pero eso está reflejado basado en la necesidad que tenemos. Entonces, todas las posiciones que necesitamos para apoyar a nuestros niños con necesidades especiales están presentes, los tenemos.
We also gained a full-time bilingual coordinator, so she'll be able to support teachers to make sure they're actually teaching, bilingually with fidelity. I know that's been a concern.
Aumentamos otra posición para coordinadora bilingüe de tiempo completo.
And for the rest of the bullet points, just want to be clear, our operational funds are really tight. So if it's not like a book we've already ordered or like an online subscription that we already have in the budget, chances that we're going to be able to get it out of our budget are very low. We're going to have to turn to fundraising for anything extra.
Para el resto de los puntos que vemos aquí, nuestro presupuesto operacional está muy, muy apretado. No tenemos mucho espacio para aumentar cosas que no están ya ordenadas o ya parte del presupuesto. Entonces, si queremos aumentar o agregar algo, probablemente va a tener que salir de nuestras recaudaciones de fondos.
If you look at the last box here in the red, you'll see we lost $350,000. So when I have to tell you no, it's not because I want to, it's because I'm broke.
Como podemos ver en la caja aquí a la derecha, en rojo, perdimos aproximadamente $350,000 de nuestro presupuesto. Entonces, cuando Mesovo tiene que decir que no, no es porque no quiere, simplemente porque estamos quebrados.
¿Preguntas?
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
In regards to the special education funding, is there going to be a plan to recoup that budget?
So that's, yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Mi pregunta es, de parte de los fondos para la educación especial, ¿hay un plan para poder recuperar esos fondos? From my understanding, some schools were able to recoup that funding. I know Orozco wasn't able to. por lo que yo tengo entendido, otras escuelas sí pudieron recuperar esos fondos, pero Orozco no pudo. Entonces, no sé si hay un plan para poder recuperar eso.
So the way that works is it goes off of what's written in a student's IEP. And so you can appeal if you can prove that a student's IEP has something in it that the school cannot cover with their existing staff. But we have exactly the staff we need. In fact, we have a little wiggle room because we have a full-time case manager and we don't have the numbers that requires a full-time case manager. So we're actually overstaffed for diverse learners right now.
Lo que explicó Mesovo es que la manera que algunas de las escuelas pudieron recuperar los fondos de educación especial era que ellos hicieron una apelación basado en tener que comprobar que los fondos que tenían no les permitían hacer lo que estaba escrito en los IEPs de los alumnos. No podían hacer esas expectativas del IEP, de ese contrato legal. Entonces ellos pudieron recuperar esos fondos, pero lo que en nuestra situación es diferente, en que nosotros sí tenemos todo lo que necesitamos para llegar a las expectativas de ese contrato de IEP de los alumnos. Y también tenemos una trabajadora, social worker, you said? So what did you call her that we have?
Oh, we have a case manager, Miss Morales.
Sí, entonces tenemos una gerente de casos, and that's a translation directly, it might be a wrong word,
Yeah.
Miss Morales, que también nos está ayudando a coordinar todo eso. Entonces tenemos más apoyo de lo que necesitamos en realidad. No estamos perdiendo recursos para los alumnos. Todo lo que necesitan se les está proveyendo.
Two questions, I'll say them in English first and then in Spanish. Can you talk a little bit more about the budgeting process and how did we lose almost 350,000? Mi pregunta es que si puede hablar un poco sobre el proceso del presupuesto y cómo fue que perdimos casi $350,000 del presupuesto.
So CPS has been doing per pupil budgeting for a few years now, but during COVID, they didn't take any money away when we were losing students, or they didn't take all the money away as we were losing students. But now that we're kind of, in their minds, somewhat post-COVID, they did pull back all of that money that they had been waiting to pull back. So we are now getting what other schools would get according to how many students we have in our school.
So, CPS por varios años ya ha estado implementando un presupuesto basado en el número de estudiantes que tenemos en la escuela. Y durante los años de COVID no se había implementado ese ajuste de presupuesto, pero ahora que las escuelas públicas se consideran que estamos un poquito ya adelantados, ya COVID está atrás de nosotros, ya están empezando a hacer esos ajustes apropiados a el número de alumnos que tenemos en el edificio. Y tenemos que recordar que nuestra escuela se convirtió en wall-to-wall gifted y eso ahora tenemos menos alumnos de lo que teníamos. So, el presupuesto está basado en el número de alumnos que tenemos en la escuela. I'll just add to that. That's why we're super excited that there's an increase in the enrollment for each of the grades. And we really look forward to that continuing to happen every year. So quería agregar a eso que por eso estamos muy emocionados acerca del aumento de inscripción de los niños en cada grado y ojalá sigamos viendo eso año por año para recuperar esos fondos.
And I saw Miss Eloisa's comment in the chat. That is something I'm open to talking about. Again, I don't want to, do that if it's not something the community is open to. But yeah, especially to bring back like the mariachis or ballet folklorio. We're in talks for that right now. And so if it did get to that point, that's when, you know, I think right now we're okay, but if we start to get other, you know, these programs on board and we don't have the money, I do want to go to the parents and ask if that would be okay.
La señora Eloisa había puesto en los mensajes que antes se podía pedir una cuota de $30 a $35 por alumno por año, que nos ayudaba mucho a recaudar fondos, y es algo que la directora Sobo no quiere implementar sin antes escuchar acerca de la comunidad de nuestra escuela, si estaríamos dispuestos a hacer algo así, pero sí ayudaría mucho y es algo que le gustaría considerar, especialmente en el hecho que podríamos perder cosas como el programa de mariachis, etcétera.
And then the other question, Miss Coyce is the diverse learner teacher for the middle school students. So there is one for 6th, 7th, and 8th graders.
Ms. Coy será la maestra de educación especial para todos los grados de sexto, séptimo y octavo.
De nada.
¿Alguna otra pregunta? Okay. Is that all, Ms. Silva?
That's it for now. And also let me know if there's information you want on the principal report that wasn't here. I'm just going off of what I've done at my other school.
Y Ms. Sobo pidió que le dejemos saber si hay más información que le gustaría ver en el reporte de las directoras. Ella estaba usando algo que ella ya usaba en su posición previa. Entonces, si queremos ver algo diferente, le podemos dejar saber a ella directamente. All right, so I'm not sure if it's appropriate for me to take over. Me disculpo por la tardanza. I apologize for lateness. I was running a little late, and then on top, my computer decided to restart. So I truly apologize for that. Disculpa por la inconveniencia. All right, so creo que acabamos de acabar el reporte de la directora, y we already kind of included information about the gift program within that report. So I think we can move on to the next point, fundraisers. Como ya se incluyó el punto de niños dotados, podemos adelantarnos a recaudaciones de fondos. Ms. Carrillo?
Yeah, I do have one announcement for Gifted.
Oh, perfect.
Sí, tengo un anuncio breve acerca para el programa de dotados. Solamente un anuncio muy importante, que la ventana de solicitud para el año escolar 23-24 se abrirá el miércoles 14 de septiembre y se va a cerrar el viernes 2 de diciembre. Son fechas nuevas. Nunca hemos tenido esa oportunidad tan temprano. Es la primera vez, usualmente es en octubre, y esta vez lo van a abrir en septiembre. Y será para todas las escuelas primarias y secundarias. So the application window for 23-24 school year will be opening on Wednesday, September 14th, and closing on Friday, December 2nd. It's important to know this information because it's the first time it's ever happened a little bit earlier. So it's pretty much a month earlier. And this is including elementary schools and high schools. And that's the reason why we're having so many different open houses, monthly open houses. Y es por la razón que vamos a tener casa abiertas mensual. Van a ver en el calendario que vamos a tener uno en septiembre, en octubre, en noviembre y diciembre, y luego otra vez en mayo. So just wanted to reiterate that that's why we're having so many open houses and opportunities to showcase our school. We're going to have one in September, October, November, December, and then again in May. Thank you.
That's great to hear. I mean, that's good news and bad news, I guess. Nos tenemos que alistar pronto para tratar de agarrar todos esos alumnos posibles y poner el mensaje en la comunidad. I was just saying, it's good news and bad news. We have less time, but we have more time to do outreach to the community to let them know that we're here.
Ms. Carrillo and I will be meeting to figure out our plans as to our plan of attack in the next week or so.
Well, any support that you guys need, you know we're here.
Thanks.
Ok, entonces, muchas gracias, Ms. Carrillo, por el anuncio de programa de niños dotados. Ahora podemos adelantarnos al punto 6, recaudaciones de fondos. We can move on to point 6, fundraisers, if there's anything that we need here. All right. So we can go ahead and move on to point 7, check requests, budget revisions, revisiones del presupuesto y peticiones de cheques. Anything here? Perfect. And el punto que sigue, punto número 8, new and old business. Entonces, we have, asuntos viejos, nuevos y pendientes. All right, so nothing there. We can move on to point number 9, public participation. Do we have anybody signed up for public participation, participación pública? I pulled up the form, but I don't actually have access to see if anybody signed up.
I just want to highlight un comentario de la señora Eloisa. So she said that it'll be wonderful to have a flyer with the new dates, with the dates that open up in September for the enrollment, and also that way we can share them with social media and like places like El Valor. So sí, muy buena idea.
Sí, estamos en progreso de eso, mamita. Muchas gracias. También con una carpeta con información. Just wanted to explain. Thank you. That's a great idea. And that's in progress right now, including a folder with information to share.
Y Ms. Sobo puso que tenemos un folleto de Orozco, solo necesitamos imprimir algo con información de prueba, de la prueba. Ok, entonces tenemos una mano, Ms. Torres.
Hola, buenas tardes. Unas cosas, primeramente, que quería preguntar más bien es sobre lo de la enrollment. Es bueno que vemos que los números han incrementado en los otros grados. Y escuché que dijimos que el kindergarten estaba a capacity, pero really capacity para la escuela grande viene siendo 60, right? Or 50 si son 25 por eso, y hemos estado tratando de agarrar el segundo grado. Según yo tengo entendido, desde antes de la segunda prueba ya estábamos a capacity, ya teníamos 25 y lo tuvieron que abrir por las otras escuelas también. Ahora, ¿hay manera o hay un update de esos niños que tomaron el examen en mayo? ¿Y cuántos son? Porque yo tengo entendido y es algo que no recuerdo quién nos dijo, que si los estudiantes están allí, abren la segunda clase. Entonces, qué bueno que ya tenemos una lista, pero si tenemos otros 20 niños que han calificado, entonces esta es nuestra oportunidad de abrirles la segunda clase. ¿Cuándo podemos obtener eso? Yo lo pedí por FOIA, pero cuando lo pedí, todavía no estaban los resultados yo no sé cuándo se han hecho. No sé si, Ms. Carrillo, do you know when those results were given or those second round offers? So, Ms. Silva, just to kind of fill you in a little bit, I won't take too much time, but this is something that we've started. We're a group of, my name is Gladys Torres, and we've met before. I am part of a group with Vanessa Lopez. I don't think she's present now. But we have been working since right after COVID. When we originally had only 8 students who were given an offer in the first round. And so we started this whole mission and met with CPS, and we've done all these things and met with all these different people to try to increase our enrollment. And as a result of some of that, we have been able to make sure that all offers are given in the first round versus only those above the 115, which is the supposedly set score, even though over the last 5 years it's always been 100. So we got from CPS, from Office of Excellent Enrollment, to agree to use the 100 and basically give any offers up to the amount of seats available in the first time around. In the first time that they signed, you have been selected to enroll. So with that said, they opened up the second enrollment, and I know that it wasn't because of Orozco, because we already had our full classroom, but Greeley and Pulaski did not. And I learned all this again through a FOIA. They were nowhere near capacity. So as a result of that, they decided to go ahead and open a second round of testing, and they have to do it for all schools, all 3 of our EL gifted schools. But I do know that we had new students who applied and tested. So we really need to find out, of those who applied and tested, how many qualified. Because as soon as we have more, then we have the commitment from, I think, Acevedo and a few others, that if the students are there, they will honor that second classroom.
Okay, email me all of that. I'm gonna put my email in the chat so I can get with Acevedo. I believe Miss Jimenez told me that we had 8 students that we extended second round invitations to, but I don't want to misspeak.
Okay, so right now she's saying that's correct. So right now the capacity is 30 for kindergarten?
I think it's 28. Ms. Jimenez?
28 is the capacity. If we go beyond 28, then we're going to need teacher assistants and a full-time teacher assistant.
We do have that 28. However, we do have a few that would be in a waiting list, but they're not enough for a second classroom.
There's not enough. And that already includes those that tested in May, correct?
Those are including the ones that tested in May, yes.
Okay. When you say we have some, do you know the number that we have in this on the waiting list?
We have like about 5, so that wouldn't give us a second classroom.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, I was wondering those numbers because, like I said, I haven't been able to get them from OAE yet. Okay. All right. Good. And
Ms. Jimenez, what is the number that we need for a second classroom?
Minimum, I don't know exactly the formula that they're using, but minimum would be more or less 15, I would say, 10 to 15 to open a second classroom. That would be the minimum.
That sounds about right, Ms. Jimenez.
And I wrote muchas gracias in the chat, but Ms. Torres, just thank you so much for all of your efforts. And I think you said Ms. Lopez as well. Really, really appreciate it. I'm really excited to work with you on that.
okay, thank you. Thank you so much for all your input now. And these last couple of months have just been crazy, but I'm really looking forward to setting up a meeting with you so we can go over some more of this too, all the efforts that we put in, and to see how else we can, now with Ms. Carrillo being the full-time coordinator, we're really looking forward to it because I know her passion, and I think with that and the outreach that we can do, we can totally fill that second classroom for next year, but the next year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if we have 5 on the waiting list and we need 10 more, that's our goal, right?
Yeah.
10 more from that. So I think we can continue this great work. Si solo si tenemos 5 en la lista de espera y necesitaríamos 10 más para calificar para abrir un segundo salón, es algo que es la meta. Y también tenemos la otra persona que se inscribió para participación pública, es Ms. Vanessa López. ¿Está presente?
I just wanted to remind you about the emblem that Orozco offers to their school community, the parents, the teachers, and which I love is when you do good things happen. And another thing that I want to remind everyone is also one thing that I will never forget from Dr. Martinez is that if not gifted, we will make them gifted. Referring to students that did not reach the required score line. And one thing that I just wanted to ask to the LSC is, what is the update about the money that was given from OLSE, the $20,000 from last year's? And there's evidence, of course. I've seen the billboards and I've seen the posters on the trains. They look wonderful. And I want to thank you all for all your hard work.
Thank you, Ms. Lopez. They do look beautiful. I'm
And
super proud every time I drive by them.
There is a video forthcoming. They waited to get it out until they could do my part of the video. But Ms. Carrillo, thank you for really leading that effort. I just came in at the end and got on tape.
Hay un video que podemos esperar. Esperamos un poquito para poder incluir a Ms. Sobo, nuestra nueva directora, como parte del video. Y le agradecemos a Ms. Carrillo por esos
Una gran
esfuerzos.
colaboración de toda la comunidad, hasta los estudiantes también del centro. Collaboration of the whole community, including with, the students being the center.
Vanessa, insert clapping emoji.
I'm sorry, I don't know if I missed her, but I think Ms. Lopez asked about the
On the budget.
Yeah,
the
20,000, something like that.
Yeah, was that what we were talking about, the budget that we were provided for the marketing?
I can check in the budget folder I was given and see what receipts I have in there. Otherwise, I can reach out to OLSE to figure that out for us. No worries.
And I believe I have something too. So when I meet with you, we'll get that together.
Perfect. I'll put that on our agenda. Thank you.
Thank you.
And ask them for more money, please.
Yes. Yeah. They haven't renewed anything yet. It's on my agenda. I met with the alderman already. Now I need to figure out who our contacts are at OLSE and the Magnet Gifted program, so I can get in good with them, get us all the money.
Yes, Ms. Torres second that. Efforts to renew this year, definitely. And Ms. Silva, you had mentioned yes to canvassing. All right, if we don't have any other questions for public participation, thank you very much to both of you for signing up for that. Muchas gracias por inscribirse para la participación pública. And so ahora podemos hacer nuestro notice for the next regular LSC meeting is going to be Wednesday, September 14th, 2022 at 6 p.m. Nuestra próxima junta regular de el LSC va a ser el miércoles 14 de septiembre a las 6 p.m. And so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the meeting. Me gustaría hacer una moción para cerrar la junta.
I'll second that, Ms. Carrillo.
Thank you, Ms. Carrillo. And we can go ahead and vote to close the meeting.
Okay. Yep.
Ms. Cervantes is very disappointed that it's not a 3-hour meeting.
Let's do the vote. Ilse Acevedo.
Sí.
Michelle Carrillo.
Sí.
Abraham Celio.
Sí.
Dulce Garduño.
Sí.
Vanessa Herrera, sí. Erika Montenegro.
Sí.
Megan Sobel.
Sí.
Me.
Y Javier Velázquez.
Sí.
Yesenia Cervantes, sí.
Oh, disculpa.
Está bien.
Ok, entonces con eso, muchas gracias a todos. Nos vemos otra vez el 14 de septiembre. See you all on September 14th. By then, we'll be started at school.